All right. That was beautiful. So welcome back, everyone, to the Ori and the Blind Forest All Skills Tournament. I'm Vol'jin. I'm here with Trojan Dude tonight. We are bringing you a matchup between, as you see on the screen, Hetfield and Odiahn. It's going to be the first match from our Mount Horu group, and it's going to be a little bit different than the big matchup last night, isn't it, Trojan?
Yes. So for this matchup, we have the current world record holder actually against one of the newer runners to Ori. He's only been submitting runs since about 2 months ago, and they have very different goals for this run. So I don't know if you want to expand on that at all, Vula.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hetfield obviously he's not just the world record holder. I mean, his PB is 2 minutes better than everyone else in the tournament. On the other side, we've got Odiahn, and Odie just started submitting runs back in December. He started with a 46.06, and he actually hadn't been running really until the last week or so. And then just in the last week, he's gotten 3 PBs, so he's already down to a 39, I believe. So he's made some pretty good improvements. Trojan, tell me a little bit about Hetfield. What about Het is it that makes him so much better than everyone else?
Well, I think there's a couple things. The first thing is that even though Hetfield, when you're looking at his run and you compare it to some of the other runners that are around like second to like 5th or 6th place, the big thing is that he does all of these really optimized strats, and a lot of the time he makes them look very, very like easy, I would say, like overall, and just he seems super confident with his movements. And the other thing is his mindset is he will literally grind an idea until he feels like it is better than the current idea. And that's something that he has helped produce a lot of route changes, in the last 4 to 6 months. And it's a really good attitude on why he has gotten this world record down like 2 minutes before second place and such.
Yeah, for sure. And the really cool thing about Hetfield is he's not just good at Ori and the Blind Forest. He has been in the past a world record holder in some of the Mega Man X games, as well as being a very accomplished tasser. I believe he won the best new tasser award of 2016 from taskvideos.org. So Hetfield has made quite a name for himself. On the other side, Odie, I actually talked to Odiahn earlier today. Because when you go up against someone like Het, it's and your PB is literally 9 minutes behind him. It's like, what do you do? What do you think? So I talked to Odiahn, and he said basically he's nervous about having to face Het. He didn't really kind of expect to have to face him this early in the tournament, but mostly it's just kind of nerves from this is his first tournament. Even though he comes from a Rocket League background, he actually helps run Rocket League tournaments. But he hasn't participated in one before. So the thing that he really wants to do is just have a good race, not have like a huge amount of mistakes, and he just wants to have a good show for himself. He just wants to put on a performance he'll be proud of, and he can do that kind of whether he wins or loses tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, just to kind of reiterate a point you made earlier, I mean, he's PB'd 3 times in the last week or so, and I think that's been an improvement of about, I want to say like 3 or 4 minutes overall. So he's really turned a big corner in the way that he's running, and I know that he is apparently going to be going for a couple really solid fast strats, so he's even willing to push himself farther beyond what he used to be. So I'm really hoping that he does have a good show, because he does have a lot of potential.
Definitely, it'll be an interesting matchup. the interesting thing is always it's easy to say like, oh, this runner is so much better than this other runner. Clearly, he's going to win. But we just saw in this Mega Man 3 race we were just watching that Casio, whose PB is about 2.5 minutes better than Too Good, he just had some stuff happen because Mega Man 3 is the kind of game where that can take place. And suddenly Too Good was in the lead. Ori and the Blind Forest is a game where if you die at the wrong time, and especially if you're Hetfield and you're going for like the most optimized possible strats, you could just lose a minute and a half or 2 minutes, or who knows. So, just gotta watch for that during this race.
Yeah, definitely, and especially, we'll go into it a little more depth while the run's actually going on, but there are a couple of segments early on where if you do actually make a mistake, depending on how deep into the section you're in, it could cost you a lot. So even though there is a big discrepancy between those two, if Hetfield does make a mistake early on, it's possible Odie could get like a lead for a good chunk of the start. So
indeed, we'll see.
Yeah.
So we're just getting started here. The SRL race is kicked off, so we're just going to wait for the Twitch delay to kick in here, and then we should see the race get going on your screens.
Definitely. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, likewise. It's definitely going to be a treat to watch. It's always a treat to watch Hetfield run this game, but to kind of see it in this race situation, see how he handles that, that'll be good. All right, so we're off. As we get going, in case you kind of have missed some of the background on this game in this tournament, this is Ori and the Blind Forest. It's a Metroidvania game that was released in 2015. This is the definitive edition, which came out a year after that. It's a really interesting Metroidvania, mostly characterized by its beautiful art and music and stuff. And you're going to see that some of the movement techniques in this game are just very dynamic and fluid looking, and it's a very, very fun run to watch and play. The category, all skills. So they're going to be required to collect all of the skills in the game, which are major upgrades to Ori's capabilities, similar to, beam upgrades or like armor upgrades in Super Metroid, if you will. And they're going to be required to collect all of those without going out of bounds and without using a glitch called Teleport Anywhere, both of which would just kind of make the run crappier in various ways. So that's what we're looking at here. And both runners have just picked up the first thing classified as a skill. It's called Spirit Flame, and that is the weapon that they're going to be able to use to fend off the evil denizens of the Forest of Nibble. As you see, they're taking care of those 3 Frankie enemies pretty quickly and moving on already. We're going to be heading to the next skill, which is called Wall Jump. And Trojan, you want to tell us about what these runners are thinking about and trying to do during this segment?
Yes. So one of the things that we'll be doing as runners throughout, especially the first couple segments of the run, but as far as like the whole run is concerned, there's some other ones we're doing, is XP manipulation. So at the very start, it takes 25 XP to actually level up, and this ramps up over time. So the runners are gonna intentionally take a certain amount of experience at different parts of the run in order to get certain level ups to make it not only faster, but also provide some sequence breaking as well. And this trick that's coming up right here, those keystones that you picked up, as you fall and open the door with those keystones, you can drop a save after the door has, it's already registered the 2 keys. And if you die after you drop the save, it will actually skip the opening animation and the door will just appear open. And we call this Ghost Door. And we'll use this several times in the run to save about 3 to 4 seconds each time. Indeed.
So you guys have just seen the first play difference between these 2 runners, and I kind of thought Hetfield would go for us. He told us in his kind of pre-tournament stuff that he was going to stick with 3 HP. So the minimum amount of health you start with in this game is 3 HP. And 3 HP is not very much, as we'll talk about a little bit later. So as a result, he is going to be a bit on the razor's edge most of this race. Odie opted to pick up a health cell early on, which is going to allow him to have just a little bit of extra buffer, keep him safe from various possible things that can just kill him outright. And we have Hetfield coming up to wall jump here. So he's got a 3:16 wall jump. That is a pretty solid time. Definitely going to be happy with that. Odie coming in. It's looking like he's going to get around a 330. That's going to be pretty solid for him as well.
Yeah, and I mean that looked like a pretty clean wall jump from Odie standards as well. So that's really, really good. And there's about an 8-second difference between getting the hell cell and not getting the hell cell. So really, Hetfield's only just an extra bit more on top of that from between the 3 health and 4 health.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely a percentage play. Odie is going to be hoping that as the race goes on, that's going to pay off for him and just preventing some deaths that would cost him far more time than 8 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're on their way up and back from wall jump. They're heading towards the new area in Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition called Blackroot Burrows. And that is the area where they're going to pick up the next skill, Dash, which is a really, really handy skill. It's going to let them go really fast. But before they get there, Hetfield's about to do a pretty big glitch. Trojan, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, definitely. So you'll see these teleport wells called Spirit Wells that they're going to be using to go across the map. And what we can do is while we're on that, we can open up the ability menu, and by clicking confirm and cancel on the same frame on top of the little XP counter that's on that menu, you essentially store the menu and you can move in the background. And so what they're doing is they're walking into what would be a cutscene, and after there's the initial trigger of Ori stopping, they level up an ability. In this case, it was Spirit Magnet, and it allows you to essentially skip the cutscene because it's acting like you already have finished watching the cutscene, and you can just walk through it after you reload your save file.
Yep, so it looks like they both had no problem with that. The only really bad thing that can happen with that particular skip is you can accidentally level the wrong ability, and that's actually pretty catastrophic, but fortunately it's fairly easy to keep control of that if you're just, you stay calm and confident. Hetfield crossing this horrifying spike pit at the bottom of BRB, he needs to dodge those projectiles. It's actually not too bad to stop and wait at some point while doing all this dodging of stuff here, because you're actually waiting on these platform cycles. So these platforms in BRB, they basically move on a cycle that starts as soon as you enter the area. So your time to get through the area basically is kind of determined in that sense. And so Hetfield is going to just, he's going to play it safe when he needs to and make sure that he doesn't die, like, for example, taking that damage from that slime. Fortunately, everything's all right.
Yeah, I almost pushed him off of the platform too, and that would have been a big deal too, because most of the cycles in BRB are 8 seconds apiece. So by missing a cycle, it's just straight time loss, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So, as far as the cycle manipulation, you notice that he stopped, or both runners stopped when they got to this very last platform area that Odie is just on. And the reason they're doing that is because it keeps the it keeps the platforms from moving at the regular speed, and you can manipulate the cycle so that you can make it. It looks like Odie waited.
Yeah, he seems to have missed it.
Yeah, but that's what they're essentially trying to do, so that you're picking it up as soon as it's on the ground.
So Hetfield's just waiting through this cutscene here. He's about to pick up his third skill, which is Dash. Gonna come in pretty handy, and we'll talk about it in just a moment as he gets to this tree. A couple more stoppages as you get frozen for different kinds of things. So 7:16 Dash for Hetfield. That is an incredibly good time. Odie's just getting his orb, and he's about to drop into the pedestal and wait for his cutscene. Meanwhile, you're already seeing some of the tech that you can do with Dash. Hetfield is doing these dash into a jump with neutral directional input, and that's causing him to coast through the air about 50% faster, or 30 actually, I think, percent faster than normal movement speed. Mm-hmm. And so now he's going to begin the Frankie walk. So this is a trick where he's going to take this Frankie across. Oh my goodness, he might be going for fast.
He's
Frankie
going
walk.
for it. He is going for fast Frankie walk.
So this trick, he is going to set up this Frankie in these spikes, and he's going to kill it far, far away from this door where he actually needs to level up. And then he's going to dash to the door, the XP chasing him. He gets the energy, he opens the door, and that is amazing. That saves around 8 seconds, and if you mess that up at all, you lose like 40.
Yeah, definitely. I would say definitely around 40 to 45 seconds. And Optimally, that saves you about 8 or 9 seconds overall, and you'll see Odie do the regular Frankie walk, which is where you come up to that platform he was dash gliding to, and you'll spirit magnet it from the top of it. But again, we're taking advantage of the way spirit magnet works with XP velocity as from following you. So yeah,
that's that's such a, as I believe we just saw Hetfield get an early cycle there. That's such a typical play of Hetfield. Like, he, at the same time that he knows how to kind of manage his risks, he is so obsessive with his practice and so targeted that he's able to do things that most people consider extremely risky and just as part of his routine. And he's coming into double jump here, so he's picking up double jump, which is his next skill, and it lets you do exactly what it sounds like. I'm not sure what happened to Odie. Dang, I missed. He may have had a death.
I think he did. I believe he had a death.
So he's going to repeat the Frankie walk. That's actually, I mean, the Frankie walk is not an easy trick by any stretch. Hetfield, meanwhile, looks like he's just having a little trouble getting out of double jump, but he's all right now. Climbing up the wall here, you're going to see, if you look closely at Hetfield's jumps, you're going to see him doing what's called ninja jumping. You want to describe that a little bit, Trojan?
Yes. So ninja jumping. So with regular double jumping, you'll actually go off of the wall when you originally wall jump, which allows you to do some frame tricks to make you wall jump faster. But the most optimal one is a ninja jump, which is when you do a wall jump and you immediately go to a neutral input right after you get off the wall, and it's actually faster than a later ability called climb. And we thought for a while that that was the fastest thing you could do, and then we figured out that it was actually optimal to ninja jump, which is,
and we actually oh wow, Hetfield apparently either missed or intentionally
and he died.
Yeah, he just missed the rekindle, so he's having some trouble with his cutscene skip getting past the part where Gumo drops rocks on you. So he's doing this section with rocks, and let me tell you, from experience with other categories, this section really sucks with rocks.
Yes, very much so.
They're totally random, and they are just absolutely out to get you. So that's not particularly fun for him right now. Odie did get through the Frankie walk. He is moving up to the door here where he's gonna set up his ghost door, take a death. That worked out pretty well for him. Hetfield got through the rock fall. Odie took a death there. Fortunately, that one's pretty free.
Yeah,
took another one.
These are not too bad if he does die here. It's kind of an awkward motion area right here because you have to kind of wrap around 2 sets of spikes, and it's very perilous.
That is definitely a good word for it. So Odiahn picks up double jump, and he also learns the ability rekindle, which Hetfield was trying to make use of to skip that cutscene and having a little trouble with.
Which he actually didn't. Oh, that's what happens.
That's fantastic. All right, so Hetfield's back on track now. Just a little bit of slop. I mean, that's going to happen to anyone in a race. You don't have an opportunity to reset when you just have kind of a brain fart. So you got to deal with that as it comes.
Yeah, definitely.
So Hetfield's on his way up to the first dungeon of the game, the Ginso tree, and he's got the key, which he picked up from Gumo there at the end of the rockfall. Very nice of him to leave that for us. In a moment, we're going to see Gumo at the entrance to the Ginso tree, and he's going to take the water vein and leave, except we already have it, so we're fine.
Yeah. And that comes from actually with us going through that door earlier from Frankie Walk. That's like the first sequence break in the game. You're not really supposed to do that. You're supposed to go into the previous area where double jump was, grotto, first, or like second after you go to the Ginso tree, instead of going to it first before you get to the Ginso tree. So, yeah.
All right, so Hetfield coming in with another cutscene skip. There's one just right before the Ginso tree, and he will get that skip, and he's going to enter the tree momentarily. Of note about this skip, it actually kind of messes up your camera on your save file here when it saves inside the Ginso tree. So if he actually dies somewhere in the Ginso tree, he has to leave and come back, but I don't anticipate that being an issue for him. This is definitely one of the areas where he is very, very strong. I mean, of all the areas in the game that he is strong at. We got some telehops. Beautiful.
Yeah, so just want to briefly explain what telehopping is. So so those little portals, those little blue stream portals that you'll see in the walls. If you can jump through that and it resets your jump every time. And you have a really quick window that if you redo the jump and go the other direction, you can just continuously reset your hops. And you can actually go much faster up those first like 3 or 4 platforms. And Hetfield was able to do it first try, which is pretty sick.
Indeed, that saves a couple seconds.
Yeah.
And Odie's making his way up back from the Moon Grotto where double jump was, while Het makes his way into this mini boss fight. So this boss has 5 random spots he can spawn in this room, and Het is just gonna plink away at him one by one. You could do a faster strategy here if you had Charge Flame, but the Frankie Walk, oh wow, okay, he almost fell into the spikes and took a death, but we're all good. You could, if you had Charge Flame, use it to reflect the projectiles, but because we skipped it via the Frankie Walk, we don't have Charge Flame.
Yeah. And just to kind of briefly describe what was happening on Odie's screen, so as opposed to what Het did to pull it out towards those little spike pit right there, Odie took some damage and didn't get the rock pushing in time, so it's actually faster to pull the rock in towards the teleport well instead of pull out because of the way the cycles work and everything like that.
All right, so Hetfield's got his Ghost Door, and he's coming into the room with the Bash skill tree, so that's gonna get picked up here at about 1457. So Bash is definitely the unique ability of this game. Well, skill. I shouldn't call it an ability because there's actually a different thing that's an ability. Hetfield just got a level up there, so that's very interesting. His XP count was off after the mini boss, and that is going to make things a little bit interesting for him. He still needs to time a level up at a specific time, and he's going to have to find a way to get his XP to be what he needs it to be. So we're going to see how that plays out coming up soon. Trojan, you want to go ahead and talk about key duplication meanwhile, as he's about to set that up?
Yeah, definitely. So what we're one of the things we manipulate in a couple locations in this run is pretty much like the loading of different rooms. And what we're doing with this is we're dropping a save right here intentionally, and we're going to go up into this room where you're supposed to pick up 4 keys for the door at the top of it. But what you can do, since the room is technically like the scene's unloaded, you can leave the three keys in the door right there instead of opening it with the full 4. And if you die while it's still in the door, then you can actually you can't see because the UI is off, but now he has 3 extra keys. And we do this to skip a location where we have to swim to get more later. That's going to save a lot of time, like over a minute of time.
So he gets the hyperspeed coming into the mini boss room here too, where he just uses a save while he's dashing. All right, so he's coming up here to the top part of the Ginso tree where we're gonna have another skip. This is where he wants that level up, and I'm actually not sure he's gonna be able to get it. He got all the XP from the mini boss. He looks like he might be gone XP.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think
take
he's
it
like
back.
4 short right now. I think he had 49 if I saw it correctly.
All right, so he's picked up the XP from one of those Frankies. Each of the Frankies drops 9, and this frog is 45. So yeah, he's got what he needs. So he's gonna get this frog to break this barrier, take the XP from it, and that'll get him the level up, and it'll break both corruption orbs at the top of the tree. So he can skip the entire right room there.
Yeah, and Odie's coming up right now onto Bash himself, so I think he had a pretty decent mini boss fight, like a 7 cycle, I want to say. So it's pretty good.
And meanwhile, on Het screen, we're getting into the escape, and this is one of the hardest sections casually for most people, just because it's the first time where you really have a basically timed challenge. The water, obviously, there at the bottom of the screen is following Het, and if he falls into it, he's pretty much dead. So he definitely does not want that to happen, but this is not too bad for most top runners to be very consistent at.
And it looks like Odie's XP is good. He didn't. I think he already got the. As he gets a very weird dash animation right there, but he. It looked like he was fine with the XP coming out of the new boss. So he should be okay when he drops that final save and doesn't have to farm stuff that Het had to do.
All right, so Odie had a quick brain fart there, almost forgot the XP down there that he needs, but he went back and got it as Het has just finished the escape, so he's just waiting for this cutscene. There's one bit of dialogue there. We've turned off the user interface for every bit except that, because if you don't turn it on right there, then you get temporarily frozen in place for about 10 or 15 seconds.
Hey man, but Ori just wants to see the sky sometimes if you forget. And
it is beautiful in Thornfelt. There's like a rainbow there. I don't know if you've seen it before.
Oh, nice. Is there a unicorn at like the end of that rainbow as well or something?
No, but there is a Nyan Cat if you do the right cheat code.
Oh, dude, nice.
All right, so Hetfield's coming into Stomp now. He's going to pick that up. So Stomp is going to be very useful for two things. The main thing is you need to go down fast. Stomp is the skill for you because it's going to increase your maximum downward velocity higher than gravity will allow, because that's definitely how gravity works.
Yeah, definitely.
That joke shamelessly borrowed from Sigma, by the way. He is also making his way to do a trick called Drainless. Trojan, give us the Cliff's Notes version of this trick.
So we're going to use a kind of similar version with the Save Anywhere, where we're going to be close enough to a save point and open up the menu. But in this case, Head had started the Stomp. And if you open up the ability menu quick enough at that save point, and you level up one of those abilities, it'll store the fact that you are still stomping. So when you reload the save, it'll put you onto the ground even though you are underwater, and it will complete the stomp. And so otherwise, that's another about another extra 20 to 30 seconds of time that trick saves.
All right, so here comes the Kuro cutscene skip. He's got to get a precise bash through a trigger, and he gets it. You can't even see what happens there if the runner gets that trick, but basically there's a cutscene trigger there, and he just bashes through it. The game lets him pass right through it. There was some talk before the races about whether runners would get a certain energy cell that Het just passed. There was some talk about whether they would get a 5th energy cell, and Het has opted not to go for it. So he's going to stick with 4 max energy. And 4 is basically, so every energy that you have can be spent either to perform a charge dash, which is going to come really handy later. It's a very fast movement ability, or it's going to allow you to save the game. And both of those things are very important for different reasons. Obviously, saves you've seen we can use for skips. So Hetfield right now, he's moving with the ability menu up. He's going to store that so that he can do a Save Anywhere glitch. She does after passing the spirit tree at the this is actually the beginning of the game, sort of. You're intended to come up here and see a cutscene telling you how the game is going to be played, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's you're supposed to technically get that like like in other glitchless categories, you get that spirit well at about like 7 minutes or something. Yep. So yeah, we're seeing it now at 21 minutes in, and yeah, that's all we'll pretty much see of it for the rest of the run.
All right, so things are about to get really real on Hetfield's side. As Odie's making good progress. He is heading up to Stomp. I mean, obviously he's a fair bit behind, but like Odie is definitely not disappointed with his performance so far. It looks pretty solid. Hetfield's going to take this ability cell here, and now he's going to start a trick called Fast Stompless. Basically what he's going for here is there's a bunch of rocks above Kuro's head off into the valley here, and he wants to knock down those rocks with this spider shot, and he can do that except there's a wall in the way. So he comes back here to despawn the wall. The shot should be passing through it. He collects the ability cell, and the rocks get hit, and there he is, completing the Fast Stompless trick.
That was really, really clean Fast Stompless. And honestly, the amount of play that you have to work with is very, very small. Like probably a few pixels depending on like what angle you're shooting it from. So it is harder than it looks.
All right, so Odie coming up on Drainless. He stomps in midair, opens the save, learns an ability. Meanwhile, Hetfield's going to start doing some rocket jumps. This is where you do a charge dash vertically in the air and cancel it with a jump, and the game just doesn't realize that you need to get slowed down, so it doesn't. And now we're moving on into Sorrow Bash, which is a trick where he's going to manipulate this bird into this... oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, that bird was too low, because the bird was like right next to the spikes.
A rare Sorrow Bash death for Hetfield. That's definitely not very common for him. He's going to make his second attempt. Fortunately, dying in the Sorrow Bash trick itself, not super costly. Odie's coming upon the Kuro cutscene skip himself. Het having a little bit of difficulty with the double bash there, but he's getting it. He should be done this one. Odie got the Kuro cutscene skip. Fantastic for him as Hetfield finishes the Sorrow Bash, and he's into Sorrow. Things are going to get really crazy right about now. He's rocket jumping to draw that frog shot up into the sky. He charge dashes through a laser. Oh my goodness. Everything is going crazy here.
By the way, I just want to let you know that swag strat he just did with canceling the charge dash right as he came through with the jump, I think he's the only person who like actually does that actively. I think he might not be
I think he might not be the only one anymore because there's a keybind that you can set up for that, and a couple people have done that. All right, so Hetfield is gonna let this frog break this wall. He's gonna go for one more rocket jump. Very nice. Woo. Clears all the spikes, floats up to the top, and now he's got the level up, which he needed to fill back his energy so he can do this.
Yeah, and again, this is another good example of XP manipulation. We had built up a certain amount, so we were within 150 XP. So when you burst open that little container right there, that's only openable with like a charge dash or a charge flame. We can level up right there, refill our energy and health, and we're good to go. And also, it looks like Odie is just did the skip at the Hologram Spirit Well, so he's starting to enter Valley and go up towards Fast Stompos, which I believe he said he is going to go for. So,
all right,
yeah. So, and that, by the way, if it wasn't mentioned earlier, that saves about 30 to 35 seconds if done optimally as well. So it's a big time save. That a lot of runners nowadays are pretty much just doing because it's just like too much time saved to not do it.
So meanwhile, Hetfield has picked up charge jump, so that's kind of the last really useful ability that he's going to get. Skill that he's going to get. But now he's going to be making his way down to Misty, and this is where you're going to really see the other use of Stomp that I alluded to earlier, as well as the importance of his energy count. So he's going to be doing a trick called Stomp Canceling. And what that is you perform a charge dash, which goes at a very, very high rate of speed. And he's going to cancel that with a stomp, which will actually refund his energy. And then he's going to cancel the stomp with a jump, because otherwise you can't do another charge dash. So he's going to do this sequence of charge dash, stomp, jump, charge dash, stomp, and just keep going. And it's going to enable him to go insanely fast. You can see he's already down to 1 energy, but he's going to be able to make that last through the rest of Misty. It's just really impressive to watch. He's halfway through Misty by the time I've even described the trick.
Pretty much, yeah. You need to talk faster.
Odie, yeah, man. Well, it looks like Odie managed to get Fast Novelist, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So nice job on his end as Hetfield is making his way down to climb. Some of these parts of Misty are a little bit vertical, and you can't really make as much use of charge dash there. But he's now coming in on climb, so definitely any kind of jitters he had earlier, maybe where he was kind of having a little bit of slop. It looks like he's gotten over that a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And so let me just describe a little bit of what climb does. So previously, for the rest of the game, you could only essentially wall jump, but now climb gives you the ability to cling to a wall. And when you're actually learning the game, this is a really useful ability to get, because it makes some of these areas a lot easier to deal with, the second half of Misty, and also in the final escape and stuff. And it's actually faster overall than regular wall jumping.
So Odie had a really tight Sorrow Bash that he managed to pull off. It was really impressive. He charge dashed the bird to death, but he managed to get the bash off on it anyway.
Oh,
no.
Oh, he was trying to go back for the energy, and he unfortunately hit those spikes right there.
He did find some spikes. That is a great pastime of Ori runners of all kinds. Yeah, in fact, that seems to just be his strat. He just kills the bird with the charge dash, and he manages to take it. All right, let's see what Het does with this mini-boss. Boom, boom, boom. All gone. That was a mini-boss. I promise you there was actually something there, but Het took care of it. Lickety-split.
Yeah. Just
I see
kind of
safety save there. No, it's all good. Just he's taking the safety save there. He's going to make sure that he's good to go with this frog juggle.
Anyway, I just wanted to quickly describe what was going on with what Het was doing with that mini-boss. So essentially, if you actually, during the completion of the charge jump, if you're still in the middle of the charge jump, it will store the damage it would do, and you can C-dash to the other guy. So you've already killed the first one, and then you just kill the second one with the C-dash, plus the C-jump stored damage as well. It's a nifty little trick, and it saves quite a bit of time.
Indeed. It's not even actually the fastest quick kill for that boss. Hetfield's coming into Blackroot Burrows. He's coming back for the final skill, and you see he's going around with the ability menu up. He's going to carry this all the way through a couple insta-kill lasers that he's fine. He knows what the cyclers are going to be. He's going to carry this up to a cutscene trigger. He is going to bash and dash over and love vulnerability. And that is going to allow him to skip a 70-second cutscene, so that's definitely not a trick that you want to mess up there.
Yeah.
And Hetfield primarily does that just so that he has more energy to spend on charge dashes. It's really crazy, the level of optimization that he and other top runners pull off for this sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And Odie's just getting the Sunstone right now, and we'll be going down to charge jump. And one of the cool things I just want to mention because of such like the high level of movement tech in Ori and all the different like styles of abilities you get, it's always really cool to see the differences in everyone's.
Oh God!
That was ridiculous. Anyway, it's cool to see the little like differences in movements between each runner in these different areas that they feel most comfortable with. So
yeah, for sure. There's a lot of like kind of personal preference in terms of how you do certain movements. So Hetfield's fast approaching the final dungeon of the game. There's going to be one last major glitch that he's going to do here. Tell us a little bit about Door Warp, Trojan.
Okay, so Door Warp is ability that we use by manipulating the load times of the game. Essentially, it's kind of similar to what you see in Door Storage in other games. However, it interacts a bit differently with the menu loading. So what we're doing is after he enters the final dungeon, Mount Horu, there's going to be an autosave, and it keeps him right in front of the door. And what we're going to do is try and load the game on the same, or try and enter by pressing up or using scroll wheel, depending on who it is, to enter the door on the same frame, and it doesn't know where to put you, so it just puts you at the end of the dungeon, essentially.
And Hetfield's having a little bit of problems with it so far. He's got 3 failures and counting. I mean, at the stage where you're not really expecting this to make a difference. All right, he got on the 4th. You're not really expecting that to make a difference in the race outcome, but for Het, definitely, you know, that sort of thing, it just annoys you as a runner. Like, it's a frame-perfect trick. You can't really... There's a limit on how consistent you can be as a human at this trick.
Yeah,
all right,
definitely.
Odie's making his way through Misty, and Hetfield's about to start the final escape. So let's talk real quick about the final escape. Everything's made of fire. It will kill you. Hetfield is going to charge dash cancel through everything because he is a madman. If he messes up any stomp cancel on any of these charge dashes, he's just going to fall into lava and die. And Trojan, on a scale from 1 to 1, what would you put as the probability of Hetfield doing fish strats?
I would say some number between 1 and 1.
All right, that seems likely. Let's go with that. And here come the fish strats. He's gotten the fish in position. Goal here is to put the fish out in the open, and then you're going to use it to do a rocket jump, and Het gets it. And he does not get sniped by a rock, so there's their fish strat. Saves 2 entire seconds. And Hetfield has passed the threshold for the final section of the game. All he has to do is hold right at this point, so he is victorious, and his timer will end pretty soon. Meanwhile, Odie comes in, and he's got climb. Odie's making very good time right now, actually.
I actually think, even with some of the unfortunate deaths, I think it can still PB with this right now. I'm trying to think of like how long this split takes. Yeah, I think he might still have a chance. It's going to be close.
Yeah, it might be rough for him. I think it's around 7 minutes of stuff left after you get climb. And his PB, as mentioned, is a 40. I believe someone in chat corrected me. It was a 40:29. So he's still making very good time. Like, Odie should not at all be disappointed in how he's doing so far.
Definitely. I definitely agree, because he got both of the main skips that he said he was going to try for, and they all looked really super clean, which is always, it's a good goal to have as a runner in general, is you go into any sort of like, as you're learning the game and you're like, okay, I'm going to start throwing this in, and then I'm going to start throwing this in. And then it's a good feeling to start getting it consistently in your runs. There's almost like no feeling like it, to be honest.
Hetfield dancing back and forth a little bit with Naru to mess around. And he comes in with a final time of 33:26. Unsurprisingly, the best time of our tournament so far. So good job to Hetfield. Congratulations on the victory. And we are now going to get to watch the rest of Odiahn's play as he finishes up Misty Woods. Misty is a really challenging area, and just even like you can very clearly see just comparing kind of how Hetfield went through there, just bang, 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 everything was quick and easy. And you just see, like, as Odiahn's going, like, here is a demonstration of some of these things that, like, you wouldn't even think about if you watch someone play it absolutely optimally. Like, oh yeah, like that part is really hard, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, so a painful death to that mini boss there. One of the unfortunate things about some of your abilities is they don't necessarily give you iframes when you might expect. And in fact, dash specifically resets your iframes. So if you take damage from an enemy and then just immediately dash as like a panic reflex, you'll probably just take more damage and very likely die.
Especially since, you know, most of us use 4 HP, and a lot of enemies in the second half of the game, when you hit them, they do 2 damage to you. So if you panic dash, it's like almost 100% guaranteed you will die, since you're only at 4 HP max.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning too. We kind of glossed over it. Hetfield took only 3 HP in this run, as we did mention at the beginning. But what we kind of glossed over is why that matters. And so all the spikes in Sorrow Pass deal 4 damage. So if Odiahn touched any of the spikes, which unfortunately happened a couple times, he would just instantly die. But all the spikes in Misty deal 3 damage. So if Hetfield had touched any of the spikes in either place, he was dead instantly. And Hetfield also was not taking like any safety saves at all. He didn't take the 5th energy cell. He didn't change his strats in any way. He just went with his normal setup, which is basically what he uses for PBs. And if he had taken any death, it would have been really, really costly, which I don't think he did take an unintentional death in that run.
I'm trying to think. Oh no, he did actually take one. He, I noticed right after he dropped the key dupe to save, you know, that damage boost that you do.
Oh yeah.
He actually died to that because he got stuck in the wall. So
yeah, that's
I think
right.
That might have been the only one though overall.
Meanwhile, Odie is making his way into Blackroot Burrows. As you see, the slow zone from the cutscene that he skipped earlier is still there. You can dash glide over it, but Odie went for that and just the input just didn't work out for him, so he ended up not getting it, and you have to take the walk of shame, so to speak. He also puts a save down on top of that lever, and while holding it down, he saves again. And now you can see off to the right, there's that door that's just gradually opening, and that just allows him to go to that side in order to take that teleporter later on. Oh, he takes the death of the laser. Just a little bit. The nice thing about Stomp is it lets you go down pretty quickly. But the not as nice thing about Stomp is it has a blind up time, and unfortunately that cost him a death there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's like this area again, like BRB is a very dangerous area around here. I mean, mostly because like the amount of lasers in this area is pretty asinine, especially you'll figure that out if you ever casually play through this game. It's pretty much like Moonsuiter's like, how can we actually just do one-shot mechanics? Let's just do big fat lines to just completely just destroy you.
The biggest lasers possible, yeah, just everywhere. All right, so Odie's got a different setup for this cutscene skip. He's just gonna walk into it. He actually was trying to dash glide over it. That's a little bit harder. So it just didn't get him. He didn't want to waste the time. But he does get the cutscene skip. There's a very obvious cue for when you've entered that cutscene, so it's not too bad to get. But you definitely don't want to miss it because you're going to lose 70 seconds, and it's not a good time. In both senses of that expression.
Yes, that agreed. So I believe one of the things that we wanted, or I forgot to mention earlier, I think while Hetfield was doing it, is we for a long time Oh, too bad. That's a pretty sick rocket jump if you would have got that. But anyway, so with regards to teleporting, for the first I started like in July last year, and for the first about 4 months, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we just go to the Sunken Glades teleporter, and then we'll just go to we'll be fine like coming out of it and stuff." Well, somebody I think it was J-Hobbs, just randomly was watching a stream one day and said, "Hey, why don't we just go to Swamp Teleporter?" And we were all kind of like, well, actually, why don't we go to that teleporter? And it ended up being just like a free 8-second, 10-second save to just go to that teleporter. It was pretty funny how stuff like that happens.
It's one of the fun things about speedrunning is you just always find oops, we had kind of this unquestioned assumption that we had the whole time, and we just didn't think to go back and revisit it. Odiahn having a close call with that laser there, but fortunately you are actually safe when you're hugging that wall, so it wasn't too bad. And he's making his way to Mount Horu. He's going to charge jump off of that block and do a couple charge dashes. Hetfield, of course, did a lot of stomp cancels on those charge dashes, but Odiahn is not going to go for that sort of trick at the moment. I mean, stomp cancels, the funny thing about stomp canceling your charge dashes as a speed strat is you can get to a 33 or probably a better time in this category.
First try door warp. Sorry to cut you off.
Not at all. Yeah, that was fantastic. Odiahn definitely has got to be happy with that. He's definitely not on PB pace at this point, but that's all right because this is overall a fairly solid run for him.
Yeah, so, definitely.
He'll just be wrapping it up with the final escape. Again, there's lots of fire everywhere. Odiahn's still got the 4 energy, but he's obviously not going to do stomp cancels. So what you're going to expect to see from him is he'll just use a couple pre-planned charge dashes. There are 3 of them. We'll see if he is planning to save his last energy for fish strats or not. I feel like he might. Oh, but he actually can't.
Oh, no.
He won't be able. Oh, okay. He took the death there. That was a little unfortunate. But yeah, there is I was going to complete that thought that there is a required spot where you have to use an energy to break a barrier. It's actually right after this spot he was stuck at. So he will not have energy to do fish traps, which is probably for the better. It's not an easy trick, and it literally only saves 2 seconds. We're not kidding when we say 2 seconds about that.
Although in our hearts it saves 7 hours.
Yes, that's true. And at the end here, if you're not doing fish strats, what you can do is charge jump up the left wall, hugging it, and Kuro will never actually spawn in that final area, so she'll never actually be able to chase you down and apply the time pressure that's normally there.
Yep.
So Odi's at the hold right stage now.
Yeah, so you pretty much just kind of expand on that. So that's definitely a nice thing for people learning is that once they figure out where the trigger is and they learn how to do the charge jumping along that wall, you can just keep practicing it and stuff if you want, because there's really I don't think Kuro will ever, or the boulders at the top won't actually spawn until you charge jump the second time. So it's a nice little thing to do, get some practice in.
Indeed.
Yep.
So overall, a pretty solid race. I'd say it basically lined up with kind of our expectations. Odiahn was able to put on a pretty respectable performance. He's definitely not going to go home disappointed tonight. And Hetfield, of course, was able to be Hetfield. A little bit of slop. I think he's going to want to iron out some of that, just knowing his personality. We can say that was a very good performance from him, but I'm sure he's sitting there I'm going to do better next time even.
Yeah, definitely. Hetfield is, it's crazy because Hetfield is his own biggest critic. Oh God, Odiahn, please.
So just to be clear, jumping with Naru is a huge time waste. All right, GG to Odiahn with a 42-24.
Mm-hmm.
And congratulations to both racers on a good race. Hetfield, of course, with the win, and Odiahn with the 42-24, which he can definitely be pretty proud of.
Yeah, especially as a first race, for him in the tournament. I know he's probably
or in any tournament.
Jitters. Yeah, it's true. In any tournament, I could tell he had a bit of jitters, but he still was pulling off some really fast strats, especially through Misty. I noticed he's doing some rocket jumps off of some of the wall bros, and it was like he's was throwing in some good stuff. So like that was also really fun to watch.
For sure. So definitely keep tuning in, guys. There's going to be more races coming up over the next couple weeks. Currently on schedule, we don't have anything until Friday at the moment. That could potentially change, but the next match that we have scheduled at the moment is Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to convert to your appropriate time zone. And we're going to have Hydra going up against Snowflame. So that's going to be a pretty good match. Hydra is a guy to watch. He is one of the top runners of this game. He's going to put on a good performance. And Snowflame is an up-and-comer who I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with his performances. And then I see we have this other match Friday night, Trojan. Do you know about this one?
No. What's the matchup on Friday night, Vula?
At 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have this guy named Odiahn playing racing Kirafel, who is another up-and-comer. This, by the way, something that we haven't gotten to talk much about Trojan is that we have very good like multinational representation in this tournament, don't we?
Oh, totally. It's like not only so we have a lot of like the North American like group, which is how it was for a little while, but then we've actually within the last about 3 months or 4 months, we've had a lot of like Europeans like get in the tournaments, and we actually have a South American one. Adriel is Argentinian, and so it's like super cool that you can have these people from like England, Scotland, Portugal, Germany, Sweden, like all these other countries like come together just like loving this game, and like and we have so many like people running it. It's freaking awesome, and it's why like we've been all so excited to actually get into the tournament as well. A lot of good camaraderie and a lot of really good competition. Yeah,
for sure. And my opponent on Friday night, Kirafel, is from Australia, so that's a pretty cool thing as well. We actually I think he's the first. He might be the first Australian. I know we also have a New Zealander, so we're hitting all over the world. It's fantastic. In any case, this has been an awesome race. I've been very thankful for you guys for watching. Trojan, it was a pleasure to commentate with you tonight.
Hey, likewise, man. It was a lot of fun.
All right, and we are ready to relinquish the stream tonight. So I don't know if there's another race coming up tonight. Is that all? Dang. You guys are going to have to come back tomorrow then, aren't you?
Definitely. You should. There's a lot of good stuff on this channel. You should.
Indeed. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Thank you all.